So yesterday we had talked about dealing with emotional control, emotional detachment. When you're in a situation and something is disturbing you, how to let it go, just as we would detach from something physical, or we would control our senses, how to detach or control our emotions. Very important, because emotions are part of the mind. It's a subtle aspect of the mind, and the mind is like the steering wheel. So if we don't control our emotions, then we're driving the car off the road. And I had said yesterday that I wanted to talk about another aspect of this, which I have employed, which is visualizing or being very clear about the person you want to be, so that when you're not that person, you're very aware of it. And I think a lot of us act in ways which are out of alignment with our values, with the values of Krishna consciousness. But when we're acting out of alignment, we're not aware of it. So we're just acting and kind of not really thinking. And if we can bring awareness to the fact that sometimes we're acting in ways that aren't Krishna conscious, and be very conscious of that, especially by being very conscious of how we want to act, then it can become very easy to make those shifts. So it starts first with visualizing, well, what is that ideal? What is the kind of person you want to be? Of course, we already know that, 26 qualities of a devotee. But specifically for you, perhaps where you're challenged. Maybe you're not patient enough, or maybe you're not tolerant enough, or maybe you're very sarcastic, or maybe you're very this or that, and therefore you want to be a more kind person, a more tolerant person, more generous person. You should be very conscious of that. That should be very much in the forefront of your mind, that this is the person that I want to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is who I'm trying to be. This is my ideal. This is what I'm striving for. To be this person for Srila Prabhupada, to be this person for my Guru Maharaj, to be this person for Krishna. This is the person I'm being molded and instructed to be, and this is the person I want to be. Of course, 26 qualities, 64 qualities, there's so many qualities. But specifically, where you're weak, focus on those areas, so you have a very clear vision of the kind of person you want to be. In another daily quote long ago, I mentioned something that I do, is I often meditate on a person or carry that person within my heart who exhibits the qualities that I want to exhibit, who just naturally lives those qualities. And so when I'm challenged in a situation, I think of that person and I think, how would they react in this situation? Knowing well, they're more tolerant, they're more compassionate, they're more understanding. And this happens quite often to me. Sometimes I'm in situations where I think a lot of people would say I would be justified in being upset, retaliating, taking revenge, being angry, and so forth. And I don't live that way, and I don't want to live that way. And I don't think Prabhupada wants us to live that way. But the temptations are there because we're human. And I think of these devotees and I think, how would they react when they're attacked, when they're criticized? And always the same answer comes. They wouldn't do anything, they wouldn't say anything, they wouldn't retaliate, they wouldn't take revenge, they would just accept it. And I always think of them when I'm in those situations. Because even though we're trying to be Krishna conscious, we have this human conditioned nature, which is we want to get even with people who harm us, rather than bless people who harm us. So when I meditate on these devotees who would bless people who harm them, it's so powerful because those are the qualities I want to develop. So two things we discussed in this quote, it was not actually a quote, in this lesson, was be clear on your weaknesses, be clear on the opposite, what you want to be, which would counteract your weakness or dissolve it. And think of someone, either in Shastra or someone you know in our movement, who embodies those qualities. And when you're in situations where you're triggered so that those bad qualities start to infest you, think, how would that devotee deal with that situation?